Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. Today I am here with a haul actually. It's been a hot minute since the last one and I basically just want to show you what books are joining my bookshelf now. These are the books that I've received during December, so some of them are gifts. Oh, actually most of them are gifts. If you watch my vlogs, you might know that Logan, my partner, has made this like DIY book advent calendar, so I have 24 new books for you guys to show. I do mention them in the vlogs, but I also have a couple of other things. I'm gonna try not to dwell on each because there's quite a lot, so let's just get into it and I will just tell you a little bit about what each book is about. In no particular order, by the way. So first off, I have a book called Paperweight. This is by Meg Haston. This one in particular has been in my wish list for a very long time and it just kept being pushed away, but I have set new goals for 2019 and this sort of... My 2019 goal is either gonna be the next or the one after that video up, or is already out, in which case I'll link it down below, but if not, keep an eye out for that and that will be up soon. But this one is about a 17-year-old Stevie who feels trapped in her life and her body and now in a treatment center on the outskirts of the New Mexico desert. And this is about a girl who is suffering from an eating disorder and I think suicidal thoughts. As you heard, she is admitted into a treatment center and it's about her experience with that, and I am very interested in this one. Next up, with the theme of she is always behind trends, we have Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I still don't know if I like it, but I literally have not heard one bad thing about it. Everyone seems to like it no matter what their tastes are. This book seems like something completely not my cup of tea, but I'm very intrigued. This is also very light, like it's actually quite big, but it's so light. It's just baffling to me because it doesn't seem to compute, you know, it's so big but so light. Anyway, this is about a fictional Hollywood star who I'm assuming has 7 husbands and is about her experience with that. I believe this is like a fake biography written about this fake celebrity. It says Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in tragic and irreversible ways. And Monique is a reporter that is writing her autobiography. Her biography, not autobiography. That'd be weird. Have you guys read this book? I feel like a lot of people have read this book. If you had, let me know what you think. Same as to every other book that I'm gonna mention here. The next one is The Humans by Matt Haig. This one sounds really interesting and I remember Cody mentioning this in one of her vlogs. After an incident one wet Friday night where he is found walking naked through the streets of Cambridge, Professor Andrew Martin is not feeling quite himself. Food sickens him, clothes confound him, even his living wife and teenage son are repulsive to him. He feels lost amongst an alien species and hates everyone on the planet, everyone that is except Newton, and he's a dog. Who is he really, and what could make someone change their mind about the whole human race? And this just really intrigues me. Then I actually received Wire and Nerves, which is a graphic novel that looks like this, by the way. I thought it was gonna be like a hello white balance. Wee! Yay! Oh, I thought it's gonna be like full color one, so that was kind of interesting for me to see. But this is actually following or on par with the Luna Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer, which I haven't read yet, so I don't know if I have to read that first before I go into this one. I'm sort of assuming so. If so, then I have some catching up to do. But I'm just gonna move on because I can't really tell you much about it because I haven't read the series yet. Next I have The Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe by Preston Norton. This I've seen in Jess's vlogs, I think at the start of last year, and she has a very high opinion of this, and I believe, if I remember correctly, this is about a boy who meets his bully at school, and the bully has a near-death experience, I think, or something happens to him and he thinks that God gave him a list of things to do to make their high school more bearable. And the only person that he thinks that can help him is this guy that he kept bullying throughout the high school experience. And I'm assuming they learn from each other a lot during this whole endeavor, but I'm very excited to see what this is about. It sounds interesting, it sounds kind of controversial in my mind a little bit, so I'm very excited to see what I think about it, and I'll get back to you when I get to it. Next 3 books are actually a continuation of a Mistborn trilogy, and so they are The Alloy of Law, Shadow of Self, and The Bands of Mourning. So that's one, Shadow of Self and The Bands of Mourning. I absolutely adore Brandon Sanderson covers, and oh my god, every time there's a light book, like my white balance just goes off the, like, hello? Anyway. One of the books that I want to read very, very soon is the 3rd book in the Mistborn trilogy. That's the only one that I have left from the trilogy. I'm very excited, but I need to get to it soon before I forget what it's about. But I don't know what these exactly follow. I don't want to read any of the synopsis because I'm afraid of the spoilers for the 3rd book. I do know you have to read them in order. We do have all 3 of them. I believe this was a little bit of a selfish addition from Logan's calendar because he is a big fan of the series and he's already finished. So hopefully I will enjoy these when the time comes, but the whole Mistborn trilogy is about a class-divided world and magic and a heist of sort, and also mostly about rebellion and hope. It's about this empire that is overruled by a very cruel ruler and a very oppressed class called Ska living without any hope, but there is a group obviously that are wanting to resist all that. And it has a very interesting magic system that is based on metal. And if you're into high fantasy, or if you are sort of afraid of high fantasy, I think the Mistborn trilogy is a very good place to start because it is very, very easy to read, even though the size might be intimidating. Trust me, Brandon Sanderson usually, or at least with this and Skyward, is very easy to get into because he doesn't make it complicated. So that is the 3 books for that one. Then I have The City of Brass, which is a ginormous book. I believe this is a high fantasy by S.A. Chakraborty. And at the back it says, the best adult fantasy I've read since The Name of the Wind. It's stunning and complex and consuming and fantastic. You must read it. And this blurb is by Saba Tahir, and it mentions The Name of the Wind, which you might know that is my favorite book of all time, so of course I'm very excited. I believe this is about a world where basically your skill is measured by how well you can steal and trick, or maybe they're just full of that. Among the bustling markets, the city's outcast eke out a living swirling rich Ottoman nobles and foreign invaders alike. But alongside the new world, the old stories linger, tales of jinn and spirits, of cities among the swirling sands of the desert, full of enchantment, desire and riches. I actually heard from other people that this seemed to be fairly political, so intriguing, very, very big. I don't know, have you guys read this one? I would definitely like to hear your thoughts on this one. Then I have 2 books that actually came in the mail with the gift from AJ. So the first one is by Christopher Rucchio and it's Empire of Silence. It is a very beautiful edition. It screams high fantasy. It's very high fantasy. This dude walking with a sword and a massive planet or moon or whatnot in the background, and I really like spacey settings, so you know, that's exciting. But this one is about, it seems to be about a guy who flees his father and is stranding on a strange new world or planet actually, and is forced to fight as a gladiator and navigate intrigues of a foreign planetary court, end up fighting a war he did not start for an empire he does not love against an enemy he will never understand. And it sounds very intriguing, so also if you have read this, please let me know. And another one that he sent to me was The Psychology of Time Travel. I think this was more of a, you know, like 2 things that I really love in one title. On the back it says, time travel is still in its infancy. It's hard to predict what the effects on body and mind might be. And that just really makes me intrigued by it. And also the book has a ribbon, which I thought was so cute. I once said that I wish all books came with that. It can't be that costly to add, and it just adds such like good feel to it. But yeah, it's a book about time travel and what it does to you. Then I have Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This is another high fantasy that I have heard quite a bit about at one point, I think. I believe this is a very long series, but I might be wrong now, so I really shouldn't say things like that. But anyway, in a land where magic has been forgotten and peace has reigned for centuries, unrest is simmering. 3 Three kingdoms battle for power. A princess must journey into enemy territory in search of a magic long thought extinct. A rebel becomes the leader of a bloody revolution. A sorceress discovers the truth about the supernatural legacy she is destined to wield. It's the eve of war. Each must choose a side. Kingdoms will fall. Another one is this kind of a funny story by Ned Wizzini, and I actually have seen a movie of this, so I'm waiting for my like that was a while back. So that is fine, but I'm still waiting for myself to forget even more about it. But this is about a person who is an extreme overachiever and pushes himself to the extent that he stops eating and stops sleeping, and it brings him into the mental state where he tries to kill himself. Then he gets checked into a mental hospital, meets a lot of people there and finds their story and finds himself. So very excited about this one. I have the third book for the Three Dark Crowns. Three Dark Crowns is a book about triplets who are separated from birth and taken into like separate territories to learn their craft. So one is a poisoner, one is a elementalist, and another one is like naturalist. And when they turn 16, they're basically put together and people are, you know, kill each other, and the one left standing will be the queen, and then the cycle continues when they have triplets, because apparently that runs in the family. This was always like a so-so, like okay series to me, and this is a book 3 in the series. I am not in a rush to read it, but I will read it when I feel like it. I thought it's gonna be the last one, but I think it's not, so you know, I have that one. Then a book that I'm so excited about, and I mentioned that in my wrap up for you guys, when I watched the movie that I really enjoyed called Arrival on Netflix. At the end of the movie, it was said that it is inspired by a novella by Ted Chiang, and I have ran and gotten this book so quickly off Amazon. This is actually a collection of short stories, so like a proper book, but it includes the story that it was inspired by. I cannot wait to read that one and the rest of them. But the one that inspired the movie is called Story of Your Life, and that's the 4th story in the book, and there's 9 in total. I'm so excited. And that story, I don't want to say what it is about because it's a big like plot reveal thing, but it's basically foreign objects land on Earth, and then we try and figure out and make contact with them. I really don't want to tell you because it's the whole point of the thing is to like... Then I have the first 3 volumes of Lady Mechanica, and they look like this. This is a steampunk inspired comic series. Bit in the blurb it says, the tabloids doubled her Lady Mechanica, the sole survivor of a mad scientist's horrific experiments which left her with mechanical limbs. I quite liked the art style, which was what brought me into like putting this into maybe wishlist, and it seems a little bit like it has like a Frankenstein vibe, so very excited about that. A couple of you mentioned when you saw it in the vlogs that you have read this and you've enjoyed it, so that is very promising, and we'll get to that this year hopefully. Speaking of comic books, I have Monstrous Volume 3, and Monstrous is a very interesting story about this girl that seems to have a monstrous or a goddess or some sort of creature inside of her that comes out and is very aggressive towards everything, and the plot is actually quite complicated to explain. It's not the easiest thing to follow as well, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say that the art style is my favorite ever. I hope this is a page without spoilers, I'm not even like really looking, but the art style of these is worth it alone, but I also enjoy a story, so I am very excited about this. Oh, I didn't see how much it won, but like there's a reason. Like the art style of this, I must look into who has illustrated this and see what other works they have, because this is stunning. Okay, we only have a couple of things left now. Another book that I'm very excited about is An Absolute Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, who I think is related to John Green in one way, maybe by brother, I don't know. But this is actually a speculative sci-fi contemporary book. I believe this is an adult book, but it has this like, I'm assuming they maybe use the same artist because it so matches his like Turtles All the Way Down type of like cover vibe, and it looks very much like a YA cover, but I do believe that this is an adult one. Might be wrong though. But this is about a person who stumbles across these weird statues and takes a photo or a video and becomes very famous for it, and then goes away and pursues other ones because there's these like robots or statues that landed all over the place, and the whole humanity starts to speculate if they are human-made, if there is some sort of conspiracy from the military, or is it aliens? And that's why it's speculative sci-fi, because I don't think we're supposed to know, or at least it's a spoiler if it is or if it isn't like aliens. But as much as it's about the mystery of what they are, it's also about a girl figuring out her life and dealing with the sudden fame. And I've heard a lot of good things about this one as well, and it sounds like such my cup of tea, because I seem to like these type of themes in like Sleeping Giants and Descender. They two are my favorite stories, and this seems to have like similar vibe, so very excited for that one. The next one is Winter Girls, which is by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is a searing novel about one girl's struggle with anorexia. It says, Cassie and Leah did everything together, including staying thin, but then Cassie died. Now the voice in Leah's head is telling her to stay strong, lose more, weight less. Is she strong enough to fight it? It's a very short book, and obviously it deals with a eating disorder. And I'm interested to see how it represents that. Now this one I actually removed from my wish list, but it was one of the like surprise books that Logan clearly got recommended on Amazon, so interesting. But that one is Furthermore, and the cover is absolutely beautiful, and this is a middle grade book about a world that is extremely colorful, and this girl that is less so she has like very pale skin and white hair, and she just seems like black and white, and she really feels like an outcast in the society, but she's determined to prove her magical abilities and solve the mystery of her father's disappearance. Like, I have nothing against middle grade, I just at the current moment I just not wanting it, like it doesn't pull at my heartstrings, you know. Hopefully at some point during the year I will feel like reading this, but yeah. And lastly, then I have two of the books that I'm also super excited about, and this one is An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. I am so ready for this. It's been way too long for me getting like into the mindset of reading them. I am there, I am here, I want to be part of this universe. I really also hope that I like them, but yes. I actually don't know much about this whatsoever, and I'm so sorry that that is not informative for you guys to watch, but I really want to go into this one blind. I just know that a lot of people like it, and it's a high fantasy, and that the author tends to really torture her characters and put them through a lot, and to me that is enough. And that is everything for this haul. I hope you guys enjoyed it and find some new books or saw some familiar ones. Let me know if you read and loved any of these, or if you read and really disliked some of them, because that's also really good to know. Thank you so very much for watching, and stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you next time. Bye!